Hey everybody, MS Farzan here, and in this video we're going to take a look at how to self-publish an ebook or a paperback on Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing or KDP system. If you haven't already, I'd highly recommend creating an account with KDP on kdp.amazon.com and doing a little research about what KDP services offer you so that you're well prepared to tackle this video. You may also want to handle any sort of financial information that you'll need to enter in the Kindle Direct Publishing system, like if you have a tax ID or just setting up where you want your payments to go. So all of that is linked and ready to go when you're ready to self-publish your book or paperback. Another important element is that we're going to be uploading already prepared files into this system. So it would be really good if you already have a thumbnail that you want to use for your ebook or paperback, and also the files that you want to upload, whether that's a Microsoft Word document or some other document. We'll look at file types, but this video presumes that you already have a book that's ready to go and you're just ready to upload it and self-publish it yourself on Kindle Direct Publishing. What I'm looking at here is I was originally in the Bookshelf hub, which is where you generally come to when you log into your KDP account after you've set it up. And I've clicked into create an ebook just because I don't want you to see my stuff. So I've already skipped one of those steps. And this is the first scene that I'm greeted with. There are several different choices that you need to make in your ebook details section of each book. And after we work through these sections, I'll show you the similar sections that show up when you're trying to do a paperback. You're going to choose a language for your ebook, the primary language that it's written in, and mine's, let's say, in English. You're going to choose a book title and a subtitle. For me, I write novels and build games, tabletop role-playing games based on a world called Entromancy. So this is called Entromancy, a cyberpunk fantasy RPG. You have a section where there is optional information about whether or not it's part of a series. So if this is, I have written a series called the Night Path Trilogy, for example. So here I would write the Night Path Trilogy as the series name. And if it was the first book, I would just say 1. And if there are multiple editions of your book, you can also signify which edition it is here. You'll write the name of the primary author or contributor. So if you're the primary author, write your name here. Whether or not it's a pseudonym, that's up to you. If you have a pseudonym, you can use that, or you can use your regular name. Or if you're doing this for someone else, you could enter their name here. And if there are multiple contributors, like let's say there are multiple authors, or there's an editor, or you have illustrators, you can add them here as well. The description is what appears on your Amazon page. In fact, if we go to the Amazon page for one of my books, let's go to nightpathhub.com/books, and that's the easiest way for me to find where my books are. If I go to Amazon, it takes me right to this link, and we see that this is the description section right for one of my books that would be entered here in this description section. So that's where it populates. And on Amazon, right in this section here underneath your how much you're charging for your Kindle or your paperback. Right now, I have mine on promotion, so we'll see this a little bit later that when you choose your pricing, this is where it shows up. And you see that I have some text here for the description of my book. And this is a different description because I'm setting up a new ebook here in this tutorial, but you have 2,280 characters left. If I deleted all this for some reason, I would have 4,000 total that I could use to create my description. So you have to be a little bit succinct. You don't want to put like an entire summary of your book here. You'll need to declare whether you own the copyright and hold the necessary publishing rights for this book, or if it's public domain. And something that's handy about the back end of the KDP service is that you can just hover over this and it'll tell you a little bit more information about what you need to know regarding that particular section. If you get stuck or if you need more information, you can always just Google things about how to self-publish a book, and you'll find a lot of good information out there. Alternatively, if you scroll all the way up here and you click on help, it'll take you to the help center, and you can write out your questions to search for them. Or if you really need help, you could contact the KDP services, and they're actually really helpful, and we'll get back to you pretty quickly. But back to our task at hand. I've entered all that information so far, and now I need to choose keywords. And I need to enter up to 7 search keywords that describe my book. There's a little drop down about how to choose keywords, and I really highly recommend that you check this out, as well as clicking on this Learn More About KDP's Keyword Rules, as well as doing a Google search and looking at some of the best practices of what kind of search terms you should use. This improves the ability for new readers to, readers that are new to your work, not necessarily new to reading in general, to find your work using these keyword search terms. So I have like cyberpunk RPG, urban fantasy game, tabletop role-playing game. I mean, they're not perfect, but they're the best that I've come up with for this particular ebook. And you also need to choose 2 categories. If users are browsing, you want to signify where these books should be located. Kind of like if you're in a library or at a bookstore, where would they be located in that bookstore? Again, you can look at this little drop down to see why they're important. And when you choose set categories, this can be a little bit tough to navigate when you're clicking on, like, let's say I want to find, my books are often cyberpunk or fantasy. So I go to fiction and I'm like, well, I don't see cyberpunk here. Maybe I'll go to science fiction, and then, oh yeah, there's cyberpunk. So one thing that you can do is just go to an existing book that's out there, search for it on Amazon, and see where that's located. And you can find that if you scroll down. Well, I'm on the ebook right now. You can scroll down to the product details, and you see this bestsellers rank. And then right now it's number 159 in role-playing and fantasy games, or science fiction and fantasy gaming. If I click on one of these sections, then I see this whole tree here that it's like any department, Kindle store, Kindle ebooks, human entertainment, blah, 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 whatever. And that's where I find my, if I were looking at someone else's book and I say, oh, my book's closest to that, then that's how I would find the tree, or the category that I am going to use for my ebook here, and I'll set that category in the same way here. Okay. I have to determine the age range for the book. Minimum is baby, and the maximum is 18 plus or adult. And there's also a US grade range that you can select. I haven't done that here. You can determine whether or not to release your book now or to make it available for pre-order. In general, this tutorial is more about how to do the thing rather than why you should do the thing or what's the best way to do the thing. But I would generally recommend that if you're releasing your book for the first time, that you do a pre-order and you set a marketing campaign around that pre-order. But you might have a specific case where your book is already released elsewhere, or you just are ready to drop it right now and you want to release it right now. Still, there will be some, as we'll see, there will be some time in between when you do this and when the book actually gets launched. So, I would give yourself a couple of days. I wouldn't expect to sit down in the morning and have your book be ready for sale that afternoon. It's going to take some time to do some editing. Even if everything's perfect and you're submitting it to KDP, they're going to do they're going to take a look at it before they make it available for sale. So I'll just save this and continue. And I go to the next screen, which is more about content. And you are first going to describe, you're going to upload your ebook manuscript, and you'll want to look at digital rights management. When this is an important point to point out. Digital rights management is intended to inhibit unauthorized distribution of the Kindle file of your book. Some authors want to encourage readers to share their work and choose not to have DRM applied. So my take on this is that if you don't mind your book being passed around and shared without necessarily you ending up getting paid for it. I would say if you don't mind that, then just say no. But in general, like we're releasing your first novel and you're trying to make money off of it, I would say enable the DRM on the book. And here's where you will upload your ebook manuscript. As you can see, the recommended formats are Microsoft Word documents, HTML, Mobi, EPUB. I think just as a general rule, if you upload it as a Word document that is correctly formatted, then you'll be in good shape. You can even download a template to do that with if you haven't done that already. And this is a really easy step. You just say upload, and I actually don't. I'm doing this as a just like a test for the tutorial, so I'm not actually going to upload a new manuscript, and I'm going to upload a PDF, which you should not do because it just won't work, or it may not work right. Let's just say that. I'm just doing this for the sake of the tutorial. And as you can see, it says most PDF files don't produce great results. You sure you want to do this? And for this case, I'm saying yes, but do as I say, not as I do. Just upload your manuscript there. Usually it'll be a Word document that doesn't take very long to upload, but because mine is a PDF that has a bunch of pictures, it might take more time. And this is a good time to discuss the differences between an ebook that you're publishing on Amazon versus a paperback that you're publishing on Amazon. There are a lot of other systems that you can use to publish a paperback. For example, there used to be CreateSpace, which you could create your paperback in and then tie that to your Amazon account so that it is basically coupled to your ebook. CreateSpace was bought by Amazon, so Amazon's book creator, paperback book creator, is basically CreateSpace, but housed within their KDP system. You could also use Ingram Spark if you want to do a different type of distribution and then link that to KDP. I'm actually thinking about doing an Ingram Spark tutorial at another time, so check back for that. But suffice it to say that if you go through the ebook process and then you start setting up a paperback, you'll be very familiar with everything that we're going to do for the paperback. As you can see, there are 3 sections here. There's a details, a content, and a paperback rights and pricing section. That's pretty much analogous to the Kindle ebook section. And we'll get to that in a second. So I've uploaded the content for my manuscript. I need to upload a cover. You can use the cover creator to do that here within the KDP ecosystem, or probably preferably you've asked a designer to create a book cover for you, and you'll have a JPEG or TIFF file. Here I have a JPEG file that I'll upload for the sake of this tutorial. This is what's going to appear as your main image here at the top when you see this image. That's what this thumbnail is this image that you're uploading right now. And it says save as successful. And what you can do now, as you can say, it'll say it's processing your file, or it might say processing your image here. And we can wait for that and then launch the previewer, which allows you to see a digital preview of your ebook. We're not going to do that right now because mine's not going to work properly, but I'll show you that with the paperback version. And then you'll get to the ISBN section. And if you've never dealt with book publishing, you might be confused about this section. And it's worth looking into. Kindle ebooks, as it says, are not required to have an ISBN. An ISBN is an International Standard Book Number. It's basically a code that every book has to signify what that book is and how to find it. And if you have a publisher, that's great. If not, you can just use your own name or create a publishing company for yourself. And where that appears is down here under the product details section. If you need to create an ISBN for your book for whatever reason, and you most likely will need to do that for your paperback, I'm going to show you one resource where you can do that. We're not going to deal with it right now for the Kindle ebook, but it is something to be aware of, particularly if you're publishing a paperback. I'm going to save all this and continue, and that takes me to the next section. And this might take some time actually to prepare our files. So I'm just going to skip over to the paperback so that you can see what happens here. If I were doing a paperback, meaning I started on my KDP bookshelf and I say, hey, create a paperback, I could actually create a paperback that's tied to my my ebook. So if they're the same book, but just one's a paperback and one's an ebook, I can have them appear on the same page, just as I do here. I have my Kindle version and my paperback version side by side. This seems to be a little bit finicky. So if this doesn't work for you, then I would say, if this doesn't happen automatically for you, that they don't appear on the same page, just write a note to the KDP service contact email, and they'll be happy to help you with that. Just provide them with the ISBN or the ASIN of each of the books, and they'll help you just coordinate that. They've been very good about that. And if you're having issues also with your categories for your books, you can just email them and they can help you with that as well. In the paperback details, I do the same stuff. I enter a language, book title, series, edition number, author, contributors, my description, whether I own the copyrights. My keywords categories are a little bit different from the ebook categories, but it's the same idea. Whether or not it contains adult content, mine does not. When I go to the next screen, I am greeted with the same content screen that we were just on, and it's analogous to this Kindle ebook content screen, but I'm greeted with this other thing about the print ISBN. Because I'm printing a book, to comply with industry standards, all paperbacks are required to have a unique ISBN. If you're just publishing on Amazon, you can get a free ISBN from Amazon just by doing this, which is fine. But if you're publishing elsewhere, you'll have to purchase an ISBN for use in your publishing. And the way that I would suggest going about that is searching for Boker ISBN. They are one of the industry leaders in providing you with an ISBN for your book. And you just go to this website, My Identifiers, and you can purchase an ISBN. You have to sign in, create an account, and I think ISBNs are $125 a book. So I would make sure to budget that in your publishing process. Set aside $125 per ISBN, and you can either get a free one here or use your own ISBN that you bought from Boker here. What can I tell you here? Your publication date is the date on which your book was first published. If you're publishing your book for the first time, you'll basically just use the live on Amazon date. You'll notice that I can't actually select anything in the future. What happens with Amazon is I'm going to hit publish book, and then it's going to go for a review. And after the review is complete and it's live on Amazon, that's what this publication date is going to end up being. If you've already published this book elsewhere and you want to use that date, that's what this field is for. When I get to print options, I'll have the interior in paper type, which is readable. You just say, do I want black and white interior with cream paper, or do I want that to be on white paper, or do I have a color interior? What's the trim size of my book? And this is something you've hopefully already decided. I want it to be a 6x9 book or 8.5x11 book. And you've tailored the interior of the book, the manuscript, to that particular format. Bleed settings is if you have printing that actually goes off the page, and it's something that if you work with a designer to create a manuscript, they most likely let you know what you should select here. If not, there's usually you'll have no bleed unless there's you have images that you want to make sure are captured within a certain frame on the page. So you're probably not going to have to deal with this, but if you have illustrations and stuff in your book, or if a designer prepared the book for you, you might have to select bleed, and this might take a little bit of trial and error. And then if you want your paperback cover finish to have a matte, a non-glossy finish or a glossy finish, that's where you choose it here. You upload your manuscript here, just like we did in the previous screen, and you upload your cover file here or create one for yourself. You have to decide whether or not you're including a barcode or if you want Amazon to include one for you. And then you can launch the previewer which I mentioned we're not doing in the ebook because mine's not going to look very good. And this allows you to do a quality check before you start selling your book or order proofs for yourself. The thing about this here is that when I look at this preview, it shows me the front and back cover of my book. That like I said, hopefully your designer you've hired a designer to do this, and they've used one of KDP's templates to create this. It shows me within the red lines where the book is going to be cut, so I know that everything should be within those lines. It's going to do like an automated check over here, and if there are any glaring errors, it'll show you on this side, on the left-hand side. But it may not catch everything, so it will provide you with some recommendations of what to check. And you can go page by page and see what digitally this should look like, or you can click on thumbnail view and it'll just show you your entire book here, the way that it should look. And I would highly recommend going through this page by page and just making sure everything looks the way that it should do before you click approve. And when you do, that's going to allow you to continue to the next page where you go into the pricing area. Rather than showing you the paperback stuff, I'm going to go back to the Kindle ebook pricing because that's where we are. With the Kindle direct publishing service, you can determine whether or not you want to enroll in KDP Select. And there's some more information here about it. This is a matter of much discussion among people who self-publish their books, is whether or not to enroll in KDP Select. There are some benefits of enrolling in KDP Select. One of them being that you can, unlike my books, for example, which are no longer enrolled in KDP Select, except for one of them, actually. The books that are enrolled in KDP Select are allowed to, you're allowed to read certain pages of them. Like if I think it's Amazon Prime, I'm allowed to read like any book that's enrolled in KDP Select. I can just read them without having to pay extra. As an author, I'm able to do certain like countdown deals and other promotions that I can't do otherwise. But what it requires is that I say to Amazon, I'm exclusively going to publish my ebook on your platform. I'm not going to publish this particular ebook on like in the Apple ecosystem or on Kobo or in any other ebook ecosystem. I'm going exclusively with you, and there are some other benefits for doing that. So that's a decision you have to make for yourself with your whole like marketing plan, how it is that you want to position your book and how you want people to get to it. And you can determine what territories you have distribution rights in, and you are going to select your royalty based on the price that you set and on the marketplace. So let's say I want a 70% royalty. Then it's going to tell me, well, my book needs to be priced between $2.99 and $9.99. Or I want a 35% royalty. I don't mind that. Then I can price it between $199 and $200. But if you're like trying to sell a free book or have it be free for like a certain period of time, you have to enroll in KDP Select. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. The KDP system will not allow you to do that. And you can also determine whether or not you want people to be able to lend your book using the Kindle system. Finally, here in terms and conditions, you're basically signing that you acknowledge and confirm that you have all these rights necessary, and signing on the dotted line basically by saying publish your Kindle ebook. And you'll notice that it says it can take up to 72 hours for your title to be available for purchase on Amazon. That's important if you're thinking, I'm just going to publish this tomorrow. It might take more than that. And they might, Kindle might get back to you and say, we noticed some errors, or we need you to clarify this thing, or what have you. Or you might, have taken a look at the previewer that we just looked at, and you've seen some errors in your paperback, and you might want to make some changes before actually publishing your book. So that's important. And finally, when you go to the paperback rights and pricing area of your book, it's analogous to this ebook pricing area, but it will allow you to and will allow you to choose, how much you want to sell the book for, what your royalties will be, and etc. And importantly, there will be a link for you at the very bottom of the page to order a proof from Amazon KDP so that you can review a physical copy of your book. Now, we've already looked at it using the previewer, but I highly recommend just taking the time to order one of those proofs so you can see a physical version of the book that you're asking Amazon to create before you put it on sale. Maybe you don't like the glossy finish of the book and you like it on a matte finish. Or maybe some of the colors aren't standing out in your book or on your covers that you thought they would, and you're going to have to redo that. It doesn't really take all that long. You'll be greeted with a dialog box that says that it'll take them a few hours to process your request, and then you'll get an email and it'll be in your cart, and you'll have to check out and pay however much it costs to print your book. And that will take you, depending on your place in the world, a couple of days or longer to ship to you. So, give yourself a week or two to sort out that situation and make sure that the physical proof looks just like your digital proof before you hit publish. And remember, when you hit publish, that's going to go through another review through KDP service. So it will take at least a day or two for your book to be ready to be published. And then when you do, it will show up here. And you might have to go into your Author Central and make sure that your book is linked to your Author Central account. And, there might be some other issues to sort out. But in general, that's how you self-publish an ebook and a paperback on Amazon's KDP system. I hope this video has been helpful for you. And if it has, please do like it and subscribe to my channel. And you can check out my books and games and leave any questions that you have in the comments section. I look forward to seeing you again soon.